ABC 10 News at 7 starts now.
Winds are whipping through the county tonight. They've already knocked over vehicles and caused a dust storm in the East County. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. A high wind warning is in effect tonight. Our ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco looks at some of the areas hardest hit today.
Powerful Santa Ana winds ripped across the East County. In Ramona, drivers dodged large tumbleweeds and what looked like a blinding sandstorm. Gusts nearing 80 miles per hour knocked down tree limbs, utility lines, power poles, and ripped apart fencing. Zachary Spelling lives on 2 acres in Humol. He makes sure his property is clear of anything that could be sent flying.
I kind of monitor when the winds pick up and try to send it out to Facebook groups so that we can all kind of secure our patio furniture, put the umbrellas down.
The CHP warning drivers with high-profile vehicles to avoid I-8 from Alpine to the San Diego County line after the wind flipped this big rig. No one was hurt. CAL FIRE is also tracking the conditions and bringing in extra crews. Even though parts of the county are getting rain, there is still plenty of fuel for a fire.
So the high temps coupled with low relative humidities have caused our fuel moistures to be critically low. And that, joined with potential for extreme widespread wind, really increases the potential for a large-scale wildland fire.
SDG&E hasn't sent any notices of planned power shutoffs, but with the wind warning in effect until late Wednesday night, outages are possible.
Pretty much within an hour of the power cutting off, you can hear every other house on my street starts firing up the generators. It's just something we've learned to live with.
The wind also hammering the coast. One woman sent us these pictures of hail hitting her patio furniture in Ocean Beach. Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
And our meteorologist Leah Pizzetti joins us now with a look at those conditions. Leah, you've been telling us we might have some rain in the mix too.
Yeah, actually, we are starting to see some rain really popping up along San Diego's coast. I just had a friend say she had to turn on her windshield wipers. So there you have it. Rain has definitely made its way into San Diego County. You can see from our satellite and radar, this system down to our south is driving moisture into our region. So if we take a closer look, you can see along San Diego, definitely in our southern coastal areas, starting to see some light rain right now. This is possible for the next day or so. This light rain really for our coastal communities. The heaviest rain is going to be in our mountains and our deserts for the next day or so. But we have a lot of alerts going on right now. A high wind warning is in place, a small craft advisory, and also a flash flood watch because of that rain in our eastern parts of the county. So a lot going on. Coming up in just a bit, I will time out when we're going to see those gusty conditions and when we're going to see rain and who is going to see rain.
All right, Leah, thank you. Evacuation orders, they have been lifted from a small brush fire in San Marcos. This started just after 4 at a canyon behind Double Peak School on San Elijo Road. It burned about 3 acres, never threatened any buildings. Crews are still on scene, but we are told that they have a good handle on the situation.
Turning now to the coronavirus, California's top health official says he likes the way our numbers are trending in terms of cases and hospitalizations.
Those numbers have certainly stabilized, not just in counties and parts of the state that weren't as impacted, but in some of the most deeply impacted parts of our state as well. And these aren't just the case numbers, but those hospital admissions as well.
Dr. Galley says hospitalizations in California are down more than 8% over the past 2 weeks. Here at home, the county reported another 2,400 cases today, bringing our total to 216,000, and another 6 people lost their lives to COVID, bringing our total there to 2,100.
Tomorrow, Scripps Health will begin giving thousands of vaccines to people 65 and up. These 6,800 doses come from the leftover supply from vaccinating healthcare workers. Appointments are required, and they were booked in just 2 hours after Scripps notified eligible patients through their online portal. It was, though, frustrating for the less tech-savvy.
People that don't have access to computers or cell phones or something, I knew of someone and they were trying to call somebody, and there's just not a good phone number, I think, that they can get through and be able to get their appointments.
Scripps Health says it has reserved enough vaccine for patients to get their second dose.
We already have Pfizer and Moderna. Soon, a third vaccine could be on the way. ABC 10 News has learned the FDA's advisory committee could meet next week to consider a new candidate from Johnson & Johnson. Our Derek Stahl goes in depth to look at what makes this vaccine different.
By now, we've heard a lot about the COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna. They use tiny fat bubbles filled with mRNA to train the immune system, an approach that's never been approved before. But the vaccine candidate from Johnson & Johnson uses a technique that scientists have been tinkering with since the 1970s.
There's a vaccine was developed for Zika using this technology, for Ebola using this technology, for HIV using this technology. Now, none of those have been widely used, but we're pretty familiar with the technology and pretty comfortable about how it works.
The technology is called a viral vector vaccine, the same approach used in the shot by AstraZeneca and Oxford University. Scientists take genetic code from the coronavirus's spike protein and insert it into a harmless virus that acts as a transport vehicle.
It's like a spaceship. It brings the genetic code to the cell, and then the cell sees the genetic code and then all of a sudden starts making these spike proteins.
Those spike proteins can't make you sick, but they're enough to familiarize your immune system and generate antibodies so your body is ready to fight off the real coronavirus. Because of this different approach, the J&J vaccine is being tested as a one-dose shot rather than two, and it can be stored in a regular fridge, making distribution easier. It's all because the viral shuttle is less fragile than those fatty bubbles in the mRNA vaccines. Bubbles that may be the cause of the rare severe allergic reactions we've seen at places like Petco Park.
Adenovirus vectors, you don't have to deal with any bubbles. So we wouldn't and shouldn't expect any of these kinds of severe allergic reactions.
Last week, Johnson & Johnson released data from the first two phases of its clinical trials showing short-term mild side effects like soreness, fatigue, and headache were similar to the ones seen in Pfizer and Moderna shots. The data also revealed that 90% of people who got vaccinated produced powerful antibodies within 29 days. An encouraging sign, but not conclusive, said Dr. Mark Sawyer of Rady Children's Hospital.
I'm looking forward to the big phase 3 clinical trial results to see if that one dose is really up there in the 70, 80, 90% effectiveness range.
Dr. Sawyer was part of the FDA advisory committee that reviewed the first two COVID vaccines. He says he's been asked to take part in the Johnson & Johnson hearing as well, and they're discussing meeting dates next month, suggesting we might not be far off from a third authorized vaccine. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
Dr. Sawyer said the vaccine from AstraZeneca and Oxford is expected to go to the FDA in the next month or two. You can stay on top of any new developments with coronavirus by downloading the 10 News app. A free version is available in the App Store.
Taking a live look at Washington, D.C., where in less than 14 hours, Joe Biden will be sworn in as the 46th president of the United States. You can see the Capitol building right there lit up and the flags covering the National Mall. Of course, security surrounding the inauguration is like nothing we've ever seen before. Our John Horn spoke to a former San Diego police lieutenant turned journalist, documenting it from all over the ground.
Where are you guys from?
Pennsylvania. Former San Diego Police Lieutenant Ray Shea is spending the next 2 days documenting Washington, D.C.'s heavily guarded streets.
Firsthand, right here next to him, like you just said, hey, I feel honored to be here. So,
sure.
America's coming together to protect this inauguration, and we'll go from there.
Shea has traveled all over the country filming civil unrest as it unfolds, including in Portland and Kenosha. His goal now is to give people an on-the-ground perspective of the side of the inauguration the mainstream media's cameras may not capture.
Close to the crowds, close to the events, close to the backing up trucks, close to the National Guard, so that people really get a feel what it's like to be here, because so many people are afraid to come right now.
That's not just because of COVID, but also the violent backdrop of pro-Trump rioters who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, delaying electoral certification of Joe Biden's win, plus recent FBI warnings of more unrest on Inauguration Day.
I feel confident attending the inauguration in person. We've had a number of security briefings. There are a huge amount of National Guard, of police presence. We know that they're taking any threat very seriously.
Shea said D.C. was mostly clear of civilians on Tuesday, but he'll have his camera on hand for whatever unfolds before and after President-elect Biden is sworn in. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
And our live coverage of President-elect Biden's inauguration begins tomorrow at 6 in the morning, immediately following ABC 10 News at 5 a.m. And throughout the day, you can check out real-time updates on 10news.com. It's all on our homepage, including a list of live events, photo galleries, and a link to our live stream.